When you're having concerns about waking up multiple times in the middle of the night, it can be things like what you ate that night. It can also be things where, like we talked about with restless leg syndrome, obstructive sleep apnea. So a sleep test is very important for those kind of insomnia where, let's say you're not having trouble falling asleep, but you're actually waking up multiple times during the night as well. And things that are also associated with that could be potentially the medications that you're on, things that potentially, if, a lot of my patients have what we call mind racing, which is what's waking them in the middle of the night.
Waking me up.
Or like pain, chronic pain is something that wakes people up a lot. Or if you're drinking too much, you're getting up to go to the bathroom a lot at night. There's a lot of issues, prostate, for your loved ones, the men in your life. So those things are important. There's something that a lot of, significantly older patients might have, a lot of the women that I see. They may have things like prolapsed bladders or things like that may be causing them to need to go to the bathroom quite a bit at night or things like that. So there's a lot of reasons for waking up in the middle of the night, and there's a lot of reasons for having trouble falling asleep. And so those things need to be evaluated. A sleep study is a great first way to go, getting your labs checked, talking to a doctor really about what your common symptoms are, because we can tend to be able to pick up the other symptoms or ask you questions that will lead us to know about things like the prolapsed bladders that you may not be, knowing to ask about, or whether your magnesium, calcium might be low, whether it's the foods that you're eating at night. It might be heartburn that's waking you up in the middle of the night, things like that you're not necessarily thinking is affecting your sleep. So that's something that I think is important. So see the doctor, get the sleep study, make sure that the foods that you're eating in the middle of the night is right before bedtime isn't too much or it's going to cause heartburn. And a lot of people where you're high stress during the daytime, they're what we call like high flyers. And so if you're more hyperactive during the daytime, you're more anxious, you're more stressed, it takes you longer to kind of land to be able to go to sleep. You don't go from being wired to passed out and able to sleep, with it's like crash landing. So I usually talk to my patients about the fact that if you are somebody who's more stressed during the daytime, to really allow yourself a good chunk of time to kind of turn off the TV and the work and the emails and all that stuff and allow yourself to kind of drift into a relaxed state to go to sleep. So that's something that we work on, which is called sleep hygiene. And that's very important, whether you're having issues with falling asleep or maintaining sleep, because part of talking about the sleep hygiene is talking about foods that you're consuming. Maybe you're drinking too much. Are you doing caffeine too late into the night? Things like that.
So if, for example, somebody didn't have insurance and couldn't afford to go to a doctor, would the best thing to do is change their diet, or what would be the
I would say sleep hygiene is important. So a couple things to really focus on for sleep hygiene is make sure that you're not overstimulating yourself right before bed, like watching a murder mystery drama on TV or the news that really gets you upset, or reading a book that gets you riled up, or you're doing work. A lot of my patients, they'll say they'll do stressed work emails right up to the point where they're going to sleep, and that's not going to get you comfortable to go to bed. Making sure that you're part of that sleep hygiene regimen is noticing what foods and drinks might keep you up at night. So that's really kind of incorporating that. And then you can dim your lights. Make sure that in the bedroom there's not a lot of fluorescent lighting. Sometimes people do great with background kind of white noises. Some people don't. Making sure that you don't necessarily, have TV going on. They always say if you're really having trouble sleeping, the bed should be only for sex and sleep. That's it. You're not in bed doing work. You're not in bed reading. A lot of those things are. Yeah, because a lot of times your body ends up thinking, your body starts to.
At least you have options. How about that? Right?
You got two options, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah.
So definitely, trying to make that bed sacred for those two things, and that's it. So you don't equate being awake in bed for your body's physiology to link that being in bed with, doing awake activities.
And there you have it. Brilliant as usual. If you guys would like more information on this subject matter, to get in touch with Dr. Julie or whatnot, please jet over to either of our websites, and you can see Dr. Julie's website right there on the screen. And in the meantime, we'll be right back. Thank you.